with the snuff movies, were any of those shot on the farm that you remember? Or those were, you said, were at different locations?
Those were at different locations.
And how many folks
Other
did you see
than
killed in the snuff movies that you saw filmed?
that was filmed,
Yeah,
for sure, 100%. I only remember that one.
yeah.
Now, if they filmed Patricia being shot, that would be two.
Okay.
But the other one was on like what you would think of as a movie set.
Yeah.
Probably just a warehouse, somebody's basement. I couldn't tell you the location, but it wasn't just a handheld VHS camcorder. It was something on a tripod with lights and things like that. And we were having sex, and somebody walked in and just shot her in the head, and I don't remember her name.
So it's a similar MO as with Patricia.
Yes, but there was no additional assault to me afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
But
Okay.
yes, it was similar to what happened there. Other than with Patricia, they busted in. It was however many of them there was, about half a dozen. And I had to stand there and watch, kind of like I had to with the puppies, while they abused her first and then shot her.
Did Patricia say anything to you before Patricia was shot? Do you remember anything? Did Patricia say anything all during the assault?
I can remember her asking to just die. Please just kill me. And I can remember telling Patricia, because this is what Samantha had said to Sarah before Samantha shot her, was, "You're going to come be with me now. I love you." And then she shot her. So I said the same thing to Patricia.
Mm-hmm.
And then they shot her.
There really aren't any English language words that convey, you know. I'm glad that you found each other, that you found some way that you could find some sort of friendship in such harrowing circumstances. I'm so sad, but I don't.
She was just a sweet little girl, and that's what these people are. And this world just does not need that.
Yeah. Do you have a sense that Trump and those perpetrators would specifically try to look for children they thought were really innocent to torture? Like the puppies?
Oh, yeah.
Like the more innocent, they wanted to torture them more?
Yes. It was about the experience to them didn't seem to be all that sexual in nature. It was about taking a bright little energetic youth and then just destroying that person. Even if not physically necessarily, but psychologically and emotionally, like to the point where they just really were traumatized for life.
Mm-hmm.
That was what they seemed to enjoy doing. Yeah. And my mother, Mary Lynn Riley, was of the exact same personality flaws that those rich people were. And as bad as my dad is, and as far as human beings go, I would say that he's just about a failure in every way. He wasn't even that bad. There was just some semblance of conscience with him. Like, I can remember at that party him just about breaking down into tears because it was affecting him emotionally to see me take that level of punishment or abuse or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So Lynn was a type of person. She would have smiled and laughed and had a really good time. That's who she was. And that's who Donald Trump is. And that's who Andy Dick is. Those three are like the last level of human as far as depravity goes. I mean, there's nothing in the way of watching another person suffer that they didn't seem to enjoy. It would be the best way to put it.
So it would be similar sort of psychopathy as John Wayne Gacy. Trump.
Yeah. Yeah. If
even worse.
I can remember Samantha was the first and maybe only person that Lynn got to kill, and I remember her being upset that she didn't get to be the one to kill her. And that's the last part of what they used as leverage against me. And they had damaged her to the point where she was probably going to die anyway. But Samantha asked me, they threw her in the room, they had cut off one of her toes. She was not in a good way. I think that maybe they had broken her arm. But she was suffering, and she asked me to choke her to death. And I did. And they used that, my parents used that as leverage against me for a period of time, telling me that I was the only one guilty of murder. So in my childhood brain, I thought that made sense, but I just did for Sammy what Sammy kind of did for Sarah.
That's how you were looking at. Okay, so let's just recap, because that's important. I don't want that to get misconstrued. So Samantha, okay. Sarah, Patricia. Which one was African American again? Samantha. So Samantha was African American, yes. And you were all tortured and trafficked by Trump and the Trump Epstein pedophile ring.
Yeah.
Brutally tortured. When Sarah was going to commit suicide, Sarah was afraid to pull the trigger, and Samantha pulled the trigger, and so that Samantha could die, because Samantha was afraid to commit suicide. Sarah asked Samantha to pull the trigger. And then when your parents...
I was in the room.
Yeah.
Sarah had asked for me to be in the room too, because she wanted... we cared about each other. Me, Sarah, Samantha, and Patricia were all just like... We kind of, Three Musketeers or whatever, we kind of stuck with each other because we did the best we could to look out for one another. But she wanted me to be in the room too because she wanted to die around the people that she loved. And at that point, it was just me and Samantha. I don't. And
was that at the brothel again? Or what was the location?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
That was at the brothel.
Okay, and so that's when Sarah died. And then they had to clean up.
Yes.
Clean up.
Yeah, the adults came in and took Sarah's body, but I remember Samantha and I had to use the cleanest solutions and clean up all the blood and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. And then when Marie Lynn and William Kyle tortured Samantha almost to death, Samantha was going to die, and then Samantha asked you to kill Samantha, similar that Sarah asked Samantha to kill Sarah.
She showed me how to choke her, and I did.
What else did she say?
Samantha?
Yeah.
She just made me.
She said to save her?
She made me promise to live life for both of them. She made me promise that I would get through it.
What do you think Marie Lynn and William would have done to Samantha if Samantha hadn't have died?
They just would have kept beating on her until she was dead.
So they
tortured her for a couple of weeks, probably.
A couple of weeks. So they tortured Samantha during a couple of weeks. And then Samantha asked you to kill Samantha because Samantha didn't want to die getting tortured by William Kyle and Marie Lynn.
And she said, I can't go back in there.
Yeah.
I can't do it again.
Yeah.
Because they had us locked in like a little storage room.
Yeah.
And they would pull us out one at a time and torture us, and then throw us back in there together. And that last day, they threw her back in there at night. And I can remember we stayed up almost all night talking. I can remember when daybreak hit, she said, you've got to do it. I can't. Basically, she could not face them again, and she knew that shortly after sunrise, my parents would be up.
Yeah.
So, and when I filed the police report, I told them that same thing. So, that the police report that was never followed up.
So when
I did that in Lawton, Oklahoma.
In Oklahoma, and so when you talked to the police, you said Samantha had asked you to kill Samantha because Samantha couldn't bear getting tortured by your parents anymore, and you told the police,
yes.
And the police never followed up in Oklahoma.
I filled out a whole report. It was recorded. I gave them the exact same story I'm telling you, and I never heard back from them. And I don't know why. I don't know how deep they dug. I don't know why that investigation stalled, but at the conclusion of that, I felt as though law enforcement was not somebody that would do anything. Because I know that the investigations have to be somewhere.
Yeah.
My parents were investigated over and over and over again, particularly my dad, in 3 different states.
Seems like there was
Four different states, because Texas, Tennessee, Alabama, and they tried to kill me in Florida. There was another investigation in Florida that followed them back to Alabama.
Yeah.
So,
I have a question for you.
There's no way. Yes.
This is specific regarding with Trump again, and I think it might help in terms of sort of just establishing something. When you kicked the tent peg into Trump's anus, you said it tore Trump's backside open, anus open.
Yes.
There's a lot of gossip, discussion about Donald Trump's being incontinent since several years ago. I remember some folks that worked on the television series The Apprentice, they said Donald Trump had to wear diapers. And that...
I would bet it's because I ripped him open.
That's what my sense is that some of the gossip has been, Trump had used Adderall, Trump was incontinent because of drug use. But I'm wondering, and I do know that the truth, if that's actually the reason Trump wears diapers is a significant part. Do you remember? I mean, can you describe what the injuries look like? Do you remember enough to describe?
I remember the scream that he let out when I kicked him, and I remember backing away, and it was, I can't remember exactly what it looked like, but it wasn't just that he was hurt. He started, while he was screaming, like his entire body was in almost like a horseshoe, where he was just vibrating or convulsing while he was just screaming at I remember his reaction being so loud that it scared me, and I kind of backed away. But what the injury itself looked like, I can't really describe that, because in my mind, I thought that he was going to die after. Mm-hmm. So I got as far away as I could, like in the corner. And as he's just, the scream that he let out, I can remember that. Yeah, just like a banshee. And then those people came in there, obviously knowing something was up. They pointed a gun at me. Anyway, they didn't beat me. They didn't do anything like that. They just scooped him up, got him out of there, and then they tried to figure out what had happened. And I know at one point I was just there with like a couple of guys holding a gun on me, and there was some discussion. My dad was brought in, and they just let us go for that day. Nobody harmed us that day because they didn't really know how they were going to handle it. They didn't know if Trump was going to die. He was fucked up. I mean, no doubt. That's something that left a scar. There is no doubt in my mind that left a permanent scar on him. So, and as far as if it's possible that that's the reason that he's incontinent today, it's very, very much so. It wasn't it wasn't a minor injury by any stretch of the imagination. It was my best effort to kill him in the most horrible way that I could possibly do it. I just happened to fail.
Well, you were 12, and you'd just seen Patricia tortured and raped and murdered. Trump premeditated the murder of Patricia to torture you, and then Trump tortured you. It's extreme circumstances. You experienced understandable rage at injustice, the most depraved sort of injustice.
And as much as I am able to corroborate, I wish somebody would just offer my dad a deal, because he knows all of it. It would be worth him not going to jail, as far as I'm concerned, just to blow this whole thing open, because as bad as my dad is, any malice that I might have towards him is superseded by the fact that the whole of the organization is even worse.
Yeah.
But that's just me talking to you. I mean, I understand you're not in that position. I'm not in that position, but that's just, I wonder how many other people are out there that are just like my dad. My dad was kind of like a recruiter, maybe. I think he would go out and find runaways, but I can't say where those people got all of the other people. I know that I don't know where Sarah came from. I know Samantha came from an abusive household, and she ran away when she was 12 or 13. Lived on the streets for a while, and then wound up in that brothel, and then wound up getting used in that whole ring. And Patricia had been in some similar circumstance where I think that she was adopted and used kind of like I was, but then she wound up on the street too, another runaway. But I don't know Sarah's background. I don't remember it.
I think your dad was probably one of similar sort of recruiters they might have used in different locations, or in terms of the core group of like those specific torture parties, they might have tried to keep a quite tight rein on things.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to talk about right now? I mean, I think
I have shared the bulk of what I remember vividly.
Okay.
Sometimes another detail or something will pop up into my head. But and I've spent years kind of trying to dissect all of this, and over the number of years, about the last 10 years, I've been just peeling back layer after layer of this, And as far as what I remember clearly, this is pretty much it. You know, like I say, there were other instances of assaults, but I can't tell you who did what, when, or where. And I can't place it to a specific individual outside of, you know, both of my parents assaulted me. Some of the other family members assaulted me. I can remember that. But as far as anybody of any importance, those 5 names that I've given are the only ones. The 2 that were there, and then the 3, Andy, Jim, and Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
But there were other people at those parties, and those people were important. I just can't point a finger at them and say for sure.
Yeah, no,
this is that person.
Don't worry about that at all right now. What I'm going to do is...
to be honest with you, seeing Clarence Thomas there really stood out. But what cements that into my brain was the celebration that my dad had when he got confirmed onto the Supreme Court. How excited he was to have a person as high as the Supreme Court that was involved in all of it as sort of a buffer.
Yeah.
So, you know, could potentially John Roberts or Justice Alito, one of those guys, been there? Potentially. I don't know, but I can remember specifically how excited he was that, you know, this is a person in about the highest position possible. And I remember him saying that that's a lifetime appointment. So,
do you remember,
for what that's worth?
No, that's important. That's significant. Do you remember any female attendees at those parties? Adult females?